Today we cover match day 5, which is full of surprises, such as City dropping points, Arsenal officially streaking, a Danny Welbeck winner, and an Everton loss even. We'll also cover the important wins for the likes of United and Chelsea, along with the first 6-pointer of the Premier League season. All this in a preview of match week 6 on this episode of the Premiership Perusal podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
We're live.
Let's get right into it.
We're here. We're ready. Match week 5, pretty decent match day, I would say.
Yeah, some
good entertainment
results,
here.
Some slightly unexpected results.
Oh yeah.
Some very expected results.
Oh yeah. Like the first one, which I may or may not have called. I don't remember if I said 1-1 or 2-2, but I called for a draw on this last podcast. It happened. Guaranteed a St. Maximin goal or assist. It happened.
It happened. I feel like whenever I say my predictions, like the second it leaves my mouth,
You forget.
I forget what I said. Like even when you're like, give me a one-off prediction, I'm like, I don't even remember what I said.
It just comes out, and you know what? I'm sure it's right. I'm sure all the fans go back and they're like, Sam is 7 for 7.
Exactly. Someone's keeping tally.
So start off with Newcastle Leeds. Start off with Newcastle. Carl Darlow, your guy.
He's back.
He's back. Freddie to the bench.
Sorry to see you go, Freddie.
As far as the rest of the lineup goes, Clark, Lascelles, Richie, and Manquillo, along with Hayden as well. Joelinton and Almiron pair up with Willock and Longstaff in midfield. St. Maximin, the only one forward in this one. For Leeds, looked very similar to normal. Meslier in net, Ayling, Firpo out wide, Cooper Dallas kind of in that role back there defensively. And then we got Rafinha, Rodrigo, Dan James, Calvin Phillips, Matthias Klick, Pat Bamford as well.
No Jack Harrison.
You called for no Rodrigo.
I did.
And Bielsa just keeps throwing him in your face.
And I think it might have been different. No Jack Harrison due to, I think he was sick.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe that influences that. A little different back line. They go with the Cooper-Ayling center back partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So something a little different there, but not too much different than what we've seen.
The Strauch red last match.
Yes.
On the suspension.
So let's get into the game.
Getting into it, fast-paced game, pretty
Very
much
fast.
the whole time, back and forth.
Yeah, just like
this
immediately.
Exactly what you'd expect, and you love to watch it.
Yeah.
First real chance, honestly, kind of comes off the goal from Rafinha. Strange goal.
Yeah.
But it was working for Leeds the whole time. They're like deep, I guess, in the attacking third, bordering on just the mid-third, pushing balls in. That ball, just a tremendous whip on it. Your guy Rodrigo, that's his best goal contribution of the year so far. He just stands in the way, moves out at the last second.
Yeah, Rodrigo masterclass, I would call that. One of those funny goals that happens every now and then where they put in a cross and the keeper's not sure if
someone's going to head it, flick it on,
if they're going to get a touch, and then ultimately ends up being best that they don't even touch it. And then it goes in, and keeper's like, oh,
yeah,
pain.
It was rough for Darlow,
Suffering.
Especially since he had an amazing game the rest of the game. But
yeah, hard to fault him on that. I mean,
true. If you're screening and you can't see the ball, and it's coming that fast with that much whip on it,
yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
What are you gonna do? But then, not long after,
Newcastle pushback.
Newcastle, doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
High pace, pressing the attack. Big chance, Joe Ellington kind of at the back post.
Oh, yeah.
Shoots it right at Meslier.
Yeah, it was rough. They've been really, really good at their intricate short passes in their counterattack lately. Like, more above average than normal for Newcastle, I feel like. They're really linking up quite well. It's just a lot of times it'll be the finishing, if that's what's going to let them down. But, I mean, given their possession, they've been creating a lot of high, I would say high-quality chances.
Yeah.
Given what their possession is. So,
Yeah.
And this one is just a matter. Joelinton, we know he's not really a finisher.
He's not Callum Wilson.
He's no Callum Wilson. But you go on later in the first half, and Richie had to go again.
Bonks it off the post. Unlucky.
Just brutal. Such a nice play too. And then right before the end of half, St. Maximin
Doing what he does best.
the dribbling. The announcer said it when it happened, but it felt like he took one too many touches or dribbles. But no, it's too good.
He's one of those guys that can actually get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
One of very few, probably.
The thing that was best about it, and they were doing it all game, even in midfield when he would just get on the ball, is Leeds were putting two, three guys on him just right away. And they did that on the fake shot that he went for. 2 or 3 guys went for the block, and he just takes that step to the side, slots it around.
Takes him out of the play completely. Very nice finish.
Oh, yeah.
Just slots it home there.
One of the best, definitely one of the most exciting guys, but one of the best kind of playmaker players in the Premier League, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. It's great entertainment value. And you think, oh, maybe that's the last chance before halftime. Wrong.
No.
Leeds, on the other end, fly back.
Lavender Leeds.
Firpo at the far post. Oh, it just bounces up on him and blasts it high over the post.
Yeah, he's normally not in those chances, and that's not what they have him there for. But when you're Leeds and you're struggling the way you are, you got to have people take advantage of those chances, because it wasn't like a clear-cut chance, but it was.
Yeah.
It could have easily ended up in the back of the net. So.
That's Alioski. He scores that.
Absolutely. For the pride of North Macedonia.
Yes.
So it goes in 1-1. And the second half, still, I wouldn't say quite as fast-paced, but still a lot of chances. I think this was, I like some tweet on the Twitter account, but it was like this is the 4th game since some given year that each team have had at least 17 shots.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane. It was an insane game. I mean, I really thought that Leeds could have done a better job finishing, given their chances this game.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you say?
Agree. It's kind of been the thing they've struggled with, not necessarily getting Bamford into good form so far, and you also want support from guys like maybe Stuart Dallas, but he's kind of forced to play farther back.
Yeah, because the defense has been so out of form.
Yeah, and then it hurts missing a guy like Jack Harrison, and then you have a guy like Rodrigo who's
just not.
He's
doing
struggling to
out
adapt
there.
to the league, so you're kind of missing the end production. You're getting in good spaces, but the finishing just not quite there.
Yeah. So goes on. It ends up finishing 1-1. What were you most impressed by in this game out of anyone? Because honestly, I think I was the most impressed by your guy Carl Darlow.
Yeah, he had a really nice game. It's funny. Newcastle seems to just have this like carousel of goalkeepers that they run through, and then each time someone gets hurt and someone else comes back and whatnot, and
they're all pretty decent.
Yeah, they all look pretty good, and Darlow is no different. He had some really nice saves, and there's a reason why he came back into the team right away.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, in this game, Rafinha obviously gets the goal. Looks pretty good just in general. We've seen him struggle against better opponents. Do you think that just going forward, he's just going to kind of be at Leeds for maybe a couple of years? Because if you're Liverpool or something, which he's rumored with this summer, would you be a little wary of buying him, seeing as how he doesn't play as well against big teams?
I've not been very impressed with him so far.
He's not as good as he was last year, but he has shown more flashes, not for the full 90, but he's had moments in these games against Newcastle, against Burnley, where he's done some good stuff, but it's not.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's top tier quality.
No, I
he
don't
might
think so.
be like a Everton or maybe even one day Tottenham quality, but
Maybe.
definitely not Liverpool, City, or Chelsea kind of quality.
Yeah.
But
I was impressed by Almiron. I think the past couple of games he's done pretty well.
yeah, he really is.
He's like so fast, and he just perfectly suits the way that Newcastle want to play. I don't think he'd be that great on too many teams in the Premier League, just because he's kind of a specialized skill set to play on the counter, like that high work rate and press. In a team that's more like possession focused, he's not going to be as good.
Yep.
Facing more of low block teams. But when you're on Newcastle and you get to play on the counter, he's great to have because he can really get things going pretty fast.
Yeah, he spreads the pitch, and if he's on, say, Brighton, he's not going to be able to do that, even though he could probably operate in small spaces because he's quick enough, but he's just a fast sprinter, so honestly, it's just best to get him in the open field. Anything else you want to touch on in this game?
Great game.
It was a great game. I would say it's probably the most entertaining game of the week.
Yeah.
Moving on
to another good one.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Wolves versus Brentford.
Yeah, so
Let's get the lineups here.
yeah, with this one, I don't think that there were many changes as far as the Wolves side. They kind of seem to be settling into their rhythm in terms of who the primary 11 are. Saw, Cody, Kilman, Saiz, more kind of in the midfield. We're looking at Marcel and Semedo out wide with Neves and Montinho in the middle. Up front, Jimenez, Trincao, Traore. As far as the Brentford side, we're looking, I want to say, no, Baptiste started last week, didn't he?
Yes,
was that 2 weeks ago?
He did start last week.
So it was, I'm pretty sure
I
it was the
think
same
it was
lineup.
same as last week, yeah.
Yeah, so Raya, Ayer, Pinnock, Janssen, Henry, Nurgaard, Canos, Baptiste, Janot, Tony, and Buemo.
Yeah. So right off the bat, Wolves get it started. They're kind of pushing the tempo early on, get a couple of early chances. But from there on out, it was kind of...
Yeah, Brentford really took control of it, I'd say.
Yeah. It was pretty surprising because I didn't really expect that out of Brentford to come to Wolves away and control the game as well as they did.
Especially since you've seen Wolves have so much success controlling the game against other teams. You wouldn't think that would be the case, but I don't know. There has to be some dynamic with Brentford's midfield, and we talked about in our international break podcast, kind of recapping teams, how well Brentford's midfield have been and how influential they are on these games. And this was just more proof of it.
Yeah, I liked in this game too. It seemed like Ivan Toney was making more of an impact in this one. Early goal ruled offside, but then in the 26th minute, he wins the penalty. Just a terrible penalty given up by Marcel, and he converts the penalty.
Yeah, you'd like to see that. Maybe just get him comfortable in terms of getting one in the back of the net, and that could spark a streak. And it definitely helped facilitate his play as the game went on, as he has another big play coming up.
Yeah, so right after the goal, they're still pushing hard, trying to get another goal. They score, again, offside, and then it's called a handball, so that's why it was ruled out. So that was a little weird. But then Wolves get a chance. Traore comes back down, hits the crossbar.
Yeah.
But then after that, Brentford scores their second goal. Just a beautiful run, and that ball from Ivan Toney was insane to Mbeumo. Just a perfect curling ball.
Yeah, right. The through balls in this game. I mean, normally when you think of through balls, you're thinking midfield all the way through the defense. But even that ball to thread the needle between the defenders from Mbeumo on the far side, so good. You can just see. I mean, because you saw the goals he scored last year in the championship, but he did have, I want to say, almost double-digit assists as well, Ivan Toney. So just an all-around attacking player.
Yeah, he seems like he's gaining more confidence. I mean, that play is just to be able to execute that play and have that calmness too. I mean, he had the good run too, where he kind of ran past. I forget who it was he ran past, but there was a question of a handball. It kind of bounced up on him, but he kept going. Last season might have been ruled off.
Yeah, it
for
could
a
have
handball,
been.
but this one they allowed to go through. So 2-0 Brentford.
Another thing, Mbeumo, good job being there and stuff. I wonder if maybe this will get him going. He's shown flashes in terms of goal scoring. Hasn't yet actually scored until now. So
yeah, I think they can be a pretty good partnership up there for Brentford. They kind of work well together. So goes into halftime 2-0. Quite unexpected, you would say, for Brentford to just really be in control of the game and get the 2 goals as well.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it where they do well in the midfield and have some good possession, but then they kind of struggle to link up the attack as well. But
yeah, that'll happen at times. I would say one thing that really shows how the game was dictated by Brentford is when Wolves do have a lot of the possession, normally Wolves will kind of go middle, push it out wide last second, and then attack from there. Even if Wolves are able to do that, Brentford's shape kind of made them settle out wide. It made them settle for long shots. They didn't really get great looks on net against Raya.
Yeah, like you say, when they were defending, they defended well. They were pretty organized. Some good play from Ayer and Janssen, and even the wide guys like Henry out there.
Yeah, coming back. So 2-0, and then Mr. Huang comes on.
And you can tell the fans are getting kind of upset because Brentford are really kind of milking the clock at every opportunity.
Yes.
Like Raya, he had a moment where he changed his gloves, and the Wolves fans were just like losing their mind.
As well they should, but still.
Yeah.
You can't blame Brentford out here. Come on now.
Wolves got off to a good start in the second half. And then the second yellow card for Baptiste, just ridiculous foul.
I don't know
what are you doing
was.
when you have a yellow card?
Yeah. You got to keep playing aggressive, but I mean...
Not like that.
My God. You got to know at some point.
And the thing that sucked was that he was about to get subbed off, too.
Yeah.
It's like...
Thomas Frank
You got to be kidding me.
Well, now we can't use him. But, no, Brentford eventually, when going down 10, kind of did just sit back even more. And they're like, well, we don't really have a choice. We're just going to go for this, playing defensively. And they're like, Wolves haven't scored that much this year. We'll take our chances. You know what? Paid off for them.
Yeah, they really made it difficult with the back five sitting in there, giving them like no room in the box at all. When you had those 3 big center defenders, Ayer, Janssen, and Pinnock coming in. Just nothing really there for Wolves. Someone in particular I thought had a poor game was Trincao. He's had some good performances, but this one just...
Not one for him.
Not one for him. I thought the Neves-Montinho midfield
wasn't
pairing
quite as good. Brentford neutralized them a little bit there.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as good. And then it's kind of... You're saying Traore with a lot of flash and no end product.
Exactly.
There was a chance where he had a cross to Jimenez, I think, and Jimenez just missed it.
Yeah.
But
No, I feel like, Jimenez is creating a lot of chances this year. And honestly, it's a lot more through passing than shots, it seems like a lot of times. But
yeah,
no, it's eventually they just need someone to kind of step up as their main goal scorer.
yeah.
Someone you can look at and you're like, okay, this guy can get us at least double-digit goals in a season. And right now they're not really showing who it'd be. It'd just be kind of like a collective effort of goal scorers. You have a bunch of guys, kind of like Chelsea last year. They had a bunch of guys with like 6 or 7 goals.
Yeah. And a lot of the time during this game, Jimenez was kind of dropping back more into like a number 10 position, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And then even when they brought on Huang, he wasn't like really up front. He was kind of more in the midfield and kind of out wide. So still looking for that central presence. But big win for Brentford.
Oh, yeah.
Just continues to vindicate us. I
Yeah, dude,
suppose.
they look good. They really do look good out there.
Yeah.
Moving on. Potentially game of the week, right?
This one was a rough one. Arsenal versus Burnley at Turf Moor.
I'll let you break down the lineups.
So, coming in, Burnley go with their standard 4-4-2. Looks like pretty much the same as last week, I think. Usual suspects, Lowton, Taylor, Tarkowski, me, Goodmanson, Brownhill, McNeil, Westwood, Chris Wood, and Ashley Barnes up front. And then Arsenal going with Ramsdale again in net, Tierney, Ben White, Gabriel, center back pairing, Tomiyasu again. And then midfield you have Thomas Partey, Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, and Pepe. And then up front, Aubameyang.
Arsenal kind of got a hard time over the summer about some of their signings and stuff, but at least you're seeing some of these guys can at least play, like Tomiyasu. And I mean, we knew Odegaard could play. He's a tremendous player, but, I just like that they're at least getting these guys in, and they look fine. So it's like, even though the results aren't quite there yet for Arsenal,
It's moving in the right direction.
slowly but surely.
You feel like you're bringing in guys who add quality to the team.
Yeah,
overall.
and they definitely add more depth because they might not be like star guys, but they're at least,
Yeah.
and that's a better way to build the team. And then if you hit a guy that turns into a star, you have that. But
And even Aaron Ramsdale, he's come in kind of scrutinized for the price tag, but so far it looks like he's been worth every penny. In this match, I think he was the man of the match for me personally. Kind of saved Arsenal on a few occasions. The big chance coming for Arsenal through the free kick.
yeah,
Odegaard
See, this
perfectly taken.
I'd say Odegaard was my man of the match in this one, not just for the free kick, but I felt like he was having a tremendous game out there. And what a free kick!
Yeah. That's that just extra bit of quality that you need in the team. When you go to a place like Burnley, it's going to be a tough match. On paper, it looks like, it's just Burnley. But away to Burnley, never an easy match. Very physical. Apparently, the pitch wasn't in very good condition either.
Well, what's surprising about that? Turf Moor, baby, home field advantage somehow.
Yeah. So I think the players were complaining about the ball wasn't rolling as well.
Yeah, this game, what I always notice, you always notice it with Arsenal against the worst teams, but the horseshoe is in full effect this game.
Yeah.
It was really going. Arteta was sitting there, he's like, yeah.
Yeah, Burnley, they're going to sit back and make it difficult for you, and Arsenal wasn't looking very good. They created a couple chances, but really it was pretty minimal.
Yeah.
But overall, you got the one goal, and that's what you need in these kinds of games.
I thought Arsenal did a good job of getting it back and kind of limiting Burnley in terms of, because we always mention Burnley, their goals are random. A lot of times it's you'll turn the ball over and then they'll hit you in short field. But I thought Arsenal did a good job of getting the ball, keeping it, and even though it didn't always end in a goal, it was still at least keeping the other team at bay, keeping them away. So As far as Burnley goes, they didn't have like great chances, I wouldn't say, but the finishing was
Yeah, they definitely could
not
have
the
scored.
best. Yeah.
You'd say that. I mean, it wasn't a shutout performance by Arsenal, but yeah, we've said this about Burnley so far this season. The finishing, the end product, just not there this season so far, and it's pretty concerning, I would say.
Yeah. And another thing, I don't know what the official number was, but didn't it feel like Burnley was offside a good amount?
I mean, thinking back, I don't particularly recall, but you could be.
I
could be
felt like
right
they
on
were
that.
offside. It's like it's like when you play FIFA or something and the guy's offside like 4 times. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
It felt like one of those. But yeah, I don't know. I saw something that Burnley in their last like 4 Premier League seasons it was like number of wins in first 5 matches like 0-0-1-0 or something like that, and it's like not time to panic. They've stayed up. It wasn't even like a Burnley account or anything like that. But I'm like, have you watched this team? What do you mean? They legit can't score.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I mean,
And their defending isn't nearly as sharp.
they do have the ability to go on these kind of hot streaks that they
Yeah.
have and get some results, but
You can only count on that so much.
they really have shown no signs of that even being there.
Yeah.
You know, it really have to come out of nowhere, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we were talking about Wolves where they're pretty unlucky to score. It's like, no, Burnley are where they are.
Because they can't score. They can't create any chances.
Exactly.
It's brutal to watch them attack right now.
And it was kind of surprising that, the Sean Dyche contract extension.
After they've been struggling.
Yeah, it's like, this is kind of a weird time to bring that up. Maybe you're looking
Maybe
to
they thought it'd
boost
spark.
morale.
Yeah, maybe they thought it'd spark the team, but yeah, going forward for Burnley, it's looking a little dire slowly but surely. Maybe it's an overreaction out of us, but
Yeah.
I just don't know, man. The quality, I don't think the quality is really there.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the one sign of life being that Cornier made his debut in this one.
Yeah, he didn't look terrible.
Yeah, he looked all right. He had a couple moments on the ball, and but for the Arsenal perspective, not the best game, but ultimately it's
A
3
result,
points.
yeah.
And that's at this point, that's what you're looking for. Just keep building.
Keep rolling.
And they got the midweek result, the Carabao Cup. So
Oh my, yeah. Well, that's primary number 1 result right there.
you just want to keep the good momentum going as much as possible, and then things will start to improve on that, hopefully.
Well, we'll have a big game coming up this week that we'll cover later on. But moving on, we got Liverpool, we got Palace. And this game really just showed Liverpool's quality, especially
Absolutely.
in defense and attack. Starting off with the lineups, Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate, with Milner and Shmishkash
Chamiskas.
out wide. Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson as the midfield. Mane, Salah, Jota up front. As far as Palace is concerned, we got Guaita, Joel Ward, Tyrick Mitchell out wide. Guehi, Anderson, Koyate, MacArthur, Gallagher, Ayew, Saha, and Benteke. Christian Benteke. Just kind of right off the bat, that early chance for Palace, that was it kind of reminded me of their first goal in that West Ham game. You remember that, where it's kind of like weird, the ball was just like kind of flying around in the box, and then like Gallagher like poked it and it went far post.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that, but it didn't end up going in because Alisson got back. But
Right, just kind of a
weird events
weird
that led to the ball.
looping kind of.
Yeah, ball going towards the opponent's net.
Yeah, Palace started this game off really good. Honestly, last season Palace, they would have been like 4% possession in the first half or something.
Yeah.
But they came out, trying to possess the ball early, trying to get it in the final third. They had that good chance early on off the line.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't a ton after that as far as
Yeah.
chances go. They'd hold possession for a little bit, but it never really amounted to much. Something would go wrong in the build-up play, or
Yeah.
Liverpool would just take the ball off them and kind of gain their own possession. But
Yeah, ultimately Liverpool was able to push Palace back into their own box and make it difficult for Palace. I think the midfield, for me, from a Palace perspective, when you have Kouyaté and MacArthur, and then even Gallagher was sitting back, I would have preferred, so
they are a little more forward, maybe pushing an attack.
I would have actually preferred that they didn't go with Gallagher, Ayew, Zaha, and Benteke, and instead take out probably Jordan Ayew and replace him with another midfielder, because it was just way too easy for Liverpool to go through the midfield. And ultimately, I don't think you need that many attacking players against Liverpool.
Yeah.
You're just going to play on the break. So you go with a 4-4-2 with Zaha and Benteke up front. And Zaha is kind of your guy to break
play the long ball through.
Because you don't want to sacrifice Gallagher, but having him sit back farther also isn't really going to do you much good.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I wonder if, even if they bring in a guy who's kind of could be a holding midfielder, even just at times a wide defender, like a Riedewald or anyone like that, if they can have him instead of Ayew, that might have helped more. Because I don't know what Ayew...
I was thinking Will Hughes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how much he's kind of been
with the team
and
what shape he's in and stuff,
but I feel like having him as an experienced player,
that wouldn't be bad. Maybe they didn't want to ruin his feelings bringing him on his debut against Liverpool.
Maybe. I mean, I respect the fact that they went to Anfield and didn't want to just sit back.
Yes.
But, ultimately sometimes you have to be a little more defensive.
Yeah.
Because Liverpool, even with this rotated lineup, neither of their first choice fullbacks, they still have so much quality.
Yeah, they were really able to dominate, even out wide. But 37th minute, Jota. How about that one?
Just a beautiful 1 yard out miss. I feel like we've had so many of these already this season.
It really has happened.
It just bounces up on someone over the post.
For me, it was the Gineppo one against Newcastle.
Yeah, that was a
literal
good one.
tapping.
But then Liverpool, they get their goal through Mane. It didn't take him.
Heck of a header by Salah
chances.
off that corner. The running towards the corner flag to flick it on, went far post, and all Guaita could do is really parry it.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for Guaita. I mean, that was a great save on the...
And then someone was playing him on for Palace, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
Really? Just unfortunate marking, but good by Mane to be there. He's got to get those so he increases his efficiency a little bit, right?
Yeah. So, goes into halftime 1-0. Liverpool in control with the lead.
And Palace came out a little stronger, kind of like the first half, I thought, in terms of having the ball and kind of showing a little more quality on it. But then, eventually Liverpool kind of got their feet back under them and kept dominating. It's crazy because, we say that Liverpool doesn't have a Premier League winning midfield. With that said, they can beat up on the bad teams, that's for sure.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to say Palace is a bad team, but they're a lower team, clearly. So with Henderson and Thiago, they were looking pretty good out there. I thought Fabinho's looked well pretty much every game he's played this year.
Especially teams that are going to give you that much space. I mean, that's the biggest mistake you can do is give Liverpool any sort of space.
Yep.
Because they will just absolutely abuse that.
Yeah.
Until they score. Palace, they brought on Edouard. He had a chance through on goal, couldn't sort his feet out. That was kind of disappointing from him. And then they bring on the reinforcement. Riedewald comes on. And another set piece, the corner kick, just falls asleep at the wheel. Salah in behind.
Yeah.
Easy as pie.
That's rough. It was a nice flick on by Van Dijk.
At the near post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, that guy's just a bully in there. It's going to be hard to mark him, but
Yeah, absolutely.
Salah
Something
right there.
I think they should maybe address. They looked pretty weak on their set pieces, Palace did.
Yes.
And then third goal, cap it off. Keita,
That was
beautiful goal outside the box.
quite the goal.
Very unexpected from him. but-
Yeah, no, you don't really see that. Even in his time as at Leipzig, wasn't the biggest goal scorer or anything, but just a perfect shot. And he
It seemed
could
like he was
tell.
kind of
He-
shocked too.
Yeah, he was clearly shocked. He couldn't believe it, and he played it off like he was cool about it. He's like, "Yeah, no, I do that. I do that all the time."
So that one ends 3-0 for Liverpool. They've shown they're a very, very good team. They've looked pretty good this season as well.
Yeah, impressive performance given the fact they're rotating the squad.
Yeah.
You might think, oh, maybe we're just going to have to squeak a 1-0 out or something like that, or
Yeah.
maybe a 2-1, but they go out there, just dominate. So
Yeah.
as far as Palace goes, I wouldn't take a ton away from it. You know, you're going to take your lumps this year from the big boys.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
speaking of taking your lumps from the big boys, oh, wait.
Southampton is the big
Oh,
boy.
wait. This one. A very unentertaining match. This rivals the Burnley Arsenal game, in my opinion.
Yes, I
For
would
worst one of
agree.
the week. Ederson, Kyle Walker, Diaz, Ake, Cancelo, Gundogan, Silva, Fernandinho, Sterling, Jesus, Grealish. As far as Southampton goes, McCarthy and net, Peters, and Livramento as the fullbacks. We know, like, they rotate their fullbacks over there in Southampton, Mr. Haasnodel.
Mm-hmm.
Stevens, Bednarik as the back line, which is kind of strange because I thought Malisu had a good game, but he'll eventually come on anyways. Salisu.
Yeah.
Malisu, same thing.
Yeah, good to have Bednarik back, but yeah, he
Yeah.
was playing pretty good.
Romeu, Ward-Prowse, Redmond, El Nuesi, Armstrong, Che Adams back in the lineup there.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, I guess, Sterling starting up front for City.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that. I mean, Pep Guardiola loves to tinker and stuff, and it's just Sterling has been so bad. And this game was no different.
Shake my head.
It's-
Shake my head. He needs a new team, I think. I don't know
I think
what.
so.
I don't know if it's Liverpool, once been Liverpool, or if it's Tottenham, or if it's Arsenal, or who it is.
I just don't think he can accept that is the problem. I think he still thinks he's a Man City caliber player.
I have news for you.
You're not.
I have news for you.
I mean,
Raheem.
not to mention he's probably getting paid like some insane money that no team would pay
Yeah,
anywhere near. So
maybe Tottenham would. It seems like a Tottenham move to buy Raheem Sterling and then
it
pay him
seems
way too
like-
much.
Yes, but it seems like a little too much to me for a Tottenham signing. But Southampton start off the game strong.
Yeah, they were able to hold possession a good amount in this game, more than you would think.
Yeah,
Uh,
very surprising.
Yeah,
coming in away.
especially since they're not super possessive with the ball at all times. Ideally, when they play teams, but yeah, I thought that they were just smart in general in this game, as we'll talk about. But when it came to if they won the ball, they're, I wouldn't say looking to go down, but they were, hey, I'm gonna draw a foul here. We're gonna get the ball. Kind of, they're playing super conservative, and it'll work out. I mean, we'll talk about the defense, but you know, in terms of the midfield and then going forward and attack, they kind of kept it pretty vanilla. There weren't really many great chances for them or anything, but at least held possession.
Yeah, they did. And whenever they lose possession, City would have the ball. You know, if they were working it out of the back, it just looked so bad. So many sloppy passes. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw City play this poorly. It seemed like every single other pass was just right to a Southampton player. It's like, this is not what you come to expect from Man City. And
Well,
they
you got
had
to
moments.
put all that effort in against Arsenal and Norwich.
True, yes. You used it all up. But they had their moments where they would break through and they'd get it down the field and maybe get a chance out of it.
And the quality finishing was not there today.
Yeah, and then you wind up with Raheem Sterling.
Gundogan had a really bad one. That header was he was virtually unmarked, and the ball was on his head.
Yeah.
And he leaned back way too far, and it went in the stands. It was like, what just happened?
It was just strange. I mean, it didn't even look like
City.
Like, I don't know if there was just the players were lacking motivation or something. If a game against Southampton doesn't really get you going as much.
Yeah. I think as Pep came out and told the fans they had to be there, and he's like, all right, they think it's funny or something. Throw the game. Throw the game, lads.
We'll show you.
We'll show you. Here's Raheem Sterling. I told you to come to the game. Now here's Raheem Sterling to look at.
City, they got more into the game later on in the first half, but couldn't get anything to go. Halftime 0-0. Second half, Cancelo has just one of the worst dives of the season. Not giving a yellow card. I'm not happy that they stopped doing that.
I'm always a fan of getting rid of that. Absolutely.
Getting rid of what?
Diving in the game.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying, why don't they give them yellow cards anymore?
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page with you.
I see, yeah.
I just phrased it poorly.
It's weird that they cared for one season and then they're like, no.
Yeah.
But Southampton, great move from Armstrong in the 60th minute. This is kind of the big turning point in the match.
They won the ball in midfield, and then Armstrong with a nice little dribble move to get free, and then Walker comes right across him, kind of over the top of his leg.
Last man back.
Penalty for you?
To me, it's a clear penalty.
He didn't get the ball, really.
No, and it was just very sloppy. And also, when you're coming from that side, any sort of contact, it's just going to be to me, it's a guaranteed penalty.
And it's not Armstrong going down because Walker's behind him at a 45, maybe 50-degree angle from where he's going to lunge into his leg. Yeah, no, I don't know how that wasn't a penalty. I don't know how they ruled it a penalty, went to VAR, and then just decided, no, that wasn't.
Yeah, that is my key theme. We'll see it more in a different game, but I don't know what is a penalty anymore. I'm very confused. What constitutes as a penalty? If that's not a penalty, I don't know what is. And then you get VAR. And we've seen earlier in the season where there will be a clear and obvious error, but they don't reverse it with VAR.
No.
And then this one, I mean, you could argue it's not a penalty or whatever. That's not clear and obvious.
Yeah, exactly. And it was already given as a penalty.
It was given on the field. So how are you going to reverse that? I just don't understand.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense to me.
So if you're Southampton in this one, you got to feel a little hard done by.
Yeah. And if you're City, you feel a little bailed out. You're not able to score this game.
Mm-hmm.
You give away a sloppy one-off chance, and then you're like, uh-oh. But then you got to be thankful for your Mr. Walker because it could have been a red easily. If it is a penalty, it's a red. He's the last one back.
Yeah.
So
100%.
It's a clear goal-scoring chance. So.
Yeah. So that was kind of the turning point in the match. City score a goal, but ruled offside.
Yeah, that was pretty close.
It was pretty close.
I would say it was off, given how he's leaning, but it is pretty tough that they had that go against them, especially since Sterling can't really buy a goal, and then that happens.
They bring on Foden and De Bruyne. You think maybe De Bruyne, he's shown it before, he comes on, just changes the game, but not able to do it in this one.
No, finishes 0-0. That was a massive, massive result for Southampton.
Yeah.
And honestly, the performance, I'd say, deserved it.
Yeah, I would agree 100% that they deserved the 3 points. Only got the one, but it's still a good result. And also the way they played was a convincing result nonetheless.
Man City do have these every once in a while. They'll probably have like one or two a year at home where it's just like, what happened? Normally it's not really that early. Last year, Leicester, you'd probably say was their one that happened. A couple years ago was Palace with like they're marching towards the title and then they just lost like 3-1 or 3-0 with Palace coming in. But, you're bound to have an off day at some point.
They'll probably go on like a 30-game win streak after this now.
Probably Pep with his freak out.
Yeah.
He was past the ball. He passed the ball.
Raheem, you are terrible. Next match, we're talking about the relegation battle.
Oh, the six-pointer.
The six-pointer, as Hank described it. It's Norwich versus Watford. On paper, this one seems like maybe not the most entertaining game, but it was a pretty.
See, that's where you're wrong.
Good
I watch.
game.
When there's bad teams and they're not very attacking, that's when it's bad.
Yeah.
When it's teams that are bad but they're at least excel in attacking, or that's what they're supposed to excel at, a lot of time those games are good, and this one was pretty good. With Norwich, Kroll, Aarons, Hanley, Kabak, Brandon Williams in there. Billy Gilmore back in. Mateus Norman with the start. Kenny McLean also in there. So no Lees Malou in midfield, unfortunately. But Rashica Pookie and then the American Josh Sargent with the start.
American Aries.
Over to the Watford side, Ben Foster and Ned Bachman out with an injury. Danny Rose, Premier League legend, back there with Trustak Kong, Craig Cathcart, and Kiko Femina making the first start of the year. Tom Cleves back in the lineup.
Cleves?
We'll talk about him. Sissoko, Sarr, Dennis, Kuchka, and Josh King round out Watford's lineup. I thought this game was kind of back and forth early on.
Yeah.
Could have went either way in terms of what happened. There weren't like really great chances or anything, but teams kind of taking turns in terms of holding possession and going for their build-up play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first 10 minutes, just both teams going after it. Watford opened up the scoring through Dennis, assist from Femenia on the side there. It was working well down the flank.
They were really well at Watford did a good job in terms of getting the crosses in a little deeper this game, and that kind of was the result of the goal. Just poor marking by Norwich, and we'll get to the second goal by, maybe it was the third goal, I think the second goal, by Watford, but the marking is just like, how do you let him slide in between two guys?
Mm-hmm.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, there was also a lot of space getting in behind, I noticed, particularly against Brandon Williams. It seemed like he was getting pushed up a lot, and then no one would pick up the guy running in behind him.
Yeah, I think, because Watford this game, I think the breakdown, it was 43% right side, 43% left side. So they never went middle, and that shouldn't surprise anyone. It's just get it out to the pacey guys out wide and let them do their thing. But, Norwich really got exposed wide in this game. Even Max Aarons, I wouldn't say, had a very good game.
Mm-hmm.
But going forward, they level it. Sloppy play from Watford. You hear that a lot in this game, sloppy play. They just fell asleep at the back, and Pookie played in behind. With a perfect low finish past Ben Foster, 1-1.
Yep, nice goal there. Nice assist from Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Goes into halftime 1-1. Second half coming out, Watford playing some nice attacking play. I really liked the partnership from Femenia and Sarr down the right-hand side. They seem to really been working well together.
Yeah, Firmino was a guy that was pretty important for them last year, but didn't really play early on this year. I think he had some sort of injury problems.
Femenia, I don't know what is.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Femenia.
We're gonna call him Kiko.
Yeah, Kiko. Better
Kiko.
Name, anyways. It's a cool sounding
Steve,
name.
actually.
Steve, yeah. Steve Femenia and Feminina.
Kiko Steve.
No, I think, their best player, I'd say, is Sarr coming in this year, and you'd say that now. He's by far the most dangerous guy. So pairing him with the best link between the defense and attack and Femenia,
Yeah.
Femina, whatever it is.
That's when they're at their best is when they're fully utilizing Sarr.
Yeah.
The past few games, he hasn't really been able to be too involved.
No.
Sometimes getting quite isolated.
No. Yeah, I'd completely agree. Eventually goes 2-1 Watford. There was so much space behind Watford in like the levels of the defense in midfield in terms of getting forward, and then just the marking by Norwich is just so poor.
Yeah, this one particularly, Williams was pushed up, and then you could tell Norman was supposed to track the guy that was running back. I forget who it was. I think it was Dennis. Who he didn't track back. He just watches him run into space. So much space. And then ultimately finds Sarr.
Who just cuts right in front and then taps it in at the near post. Like even then, like Grant Hanley, where are you? Yeah. You have to read that he's making that run.
Mm-hmm. You know exactly what they're going for.
Yeah. Brutal. Just brutal defending. Ends up going 3-1. Just a absolute shitter of a clearance in the middle of the field by Norwich. I don't know what that was. He just shanked it like pretty much backwards to the side. Yeah. Watford able to break off that. Josh King couldn't quite finish. It would have been nice for him to get on the score sheet, but Sarr with the rebound, slots at home. Ends up 3-1 for Norwich.
You mean Watford?
No, in the alternate universe. The alternate universe. It's 3-1 Watford, big win for them. I think this says a lot more about Norwich than it does Watford. Watford looked so bad. They look like the worst Premier League team, I would say, the last like 3 or 4 weeks, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They had no form, and they came out on the road and won 3-1 at Norwich. Yeah. Should we pack Norwich's bags for them now?
See, this is why I was confused. I was watching this game, and I'm like, where do people get that Norwich is going to finish in 14th?
It makes no sense.
Like
Farke isn't a terrible manager, but there's not the quality there. He can't play that style with that team. Yeah. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of him, because he doesn't really adapt. Right.
I mean, it's one thing to look great in the championship and have the great attack, but you got to make some adjustments when you're in the Premier League. And it just confuses me why people rate Norwich over a team like Brentford, where Brentford, they've shown they know how to get results in this league. Yeah. Whereas Norwich, it's the same story. I mean, they do great in the championship. They come up and they're terrible. So why are people rating them still? I don't understand. Nothing has changed.
Nope. It's the same system, same thing over and over. I think they've lost like 15 or 14 straight Premier League games. Yeah. So, tough for Norwich going forward. As far as Watford goes, I feel like it's just a matter of the opponents, who they play, where they can really expose them. They got Newcastle coming up, and Newcastle's been a little vulnerable wide lately, especially against Leeds. So, maybe they're able to get back-to-back wins. I wouldn't say that's something to write home about or that they're going to for sure stay up, but I think if you're taking care of your business against other relegation candidates, that's going to at least give you a leg up on them. So, moving on, very entertaining game right here.
Yes. Aston Villa versus Everton. Aston Villa come up here. They kind of got the back five rocking, a little different than what they've been going with lately, but they got Matty Cash and Matty Target kind of as the wing backs, Konsa, Mings, and Tanzebe as the 3 center backs. In the midfield, Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, Jacob Ramsey. Front 2, Ollie Watkins, and Danny Ings.
Has your opinion, after watching this game, of the Watkins-Ings partnership, anything changed on that? I still think they're getting a little used to each other, but it still looks like it can work.
Yeah, I think it can work. I thought it was funny because ultimately this game came down to like nothing about either of them.
No, it really doesn't. But I just thought going forward, they'll definitely have to rely on those guys more.
Yeah.
Because you can't just rely on Mr. Bailey getting you pretty much
True.
3 goals.
That is the benefit of, I mean, when your other players are playing well, while some players are getting used to playing with each other, you know, you have that benefit.
Amen. Depth.
And then the Everton side, some injuries causing some substitutions. Begovic coming in for Everton, making his first start there. Michael Keane, Yerry Mina, Luca Digne, and Ben Godfrey popping in there for Seamus Coleman. Pretty standard midfield, Elan, Dukare, Townsend, and then Iwobi
getting in there. It's a little different.
Yeah, no Richarlison, and then up front, Damari Gray and Solomon Rondon.
This was a stinky lineup by Everton.
That is pretty awful. God.
This is pretty unfortunate for my boy Rafa out here.
Solomon Rondon, like what is it, 2014? Jeez,
Yeah.
Come on.
What league did they buy him from? Was it
Like
the Qatar?
Yeah. Shouldn't be allowed to do that. It's a one-way street. You go to Qatar. You don't come back.
You never come back. This one started off pretty slow, but you know what I did notice with this one? When Everton, we always talk about it, if Everton's not able to take their chances early on, what'll happen? Because so far, all they've done is take their chances kind of early on, except for the Burnley game. They're able to just kind of overpower them eventually with 1 goal. But this game, they had some chances to score in the first half, and they really weren't able to take advantage of it.
No, not at all.
The finishing, and I mean, that's just the drop-off. I kind of poo-poo on Richarlison and stuff because he's not the most efficient guy. Mm-hmm. He can at least score goals.
Yeah.
Solomon Rondon is beyond washed.
Yeah.
He was washed in 2018. Like, what is he doing out here?
And then, you know, it's one thing to bring in Rondon to a team that's got more quality around him. But a guy like Iwobi.
I'm scratching my head right now.
And then, of course, you have the more defensive-focused midfield with Alan and Dukore.
So it's like, where's the playmaking going to come from? Is it just Gray, pretty much?
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what it came down to is like, okay, we're going to pass him the ball and like go run. Mm-hmm. And he didn't find any success. I mean, that's going to happen. Especially when you have one guy doing all the work. You're going to be like, okay, well, we just defend him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're not going to do anything like, oh, Iwobi's going to punish you.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
No.
The 3-5-2, though, for Aston Villa.
They look good. They look good wide.
I really liked it because we've seen so far they like to play through the fullbacks, or in this case, wingbacks. Mm-hmm. However, we've seen that can get them punished down the wing, especially against Watford. Matty Target had a rough go there. But I like having that third center back, just a little extra coverage so those guys can push forward, and they're swinging in crosses to Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings and guys like that.
True. Even when you, with this said, all this, the 3-5-2, or the, I guess, 5-3-2, however you want to look at it, even with that said, when you're getting performances like this at Douglas Luiz,
yeah,
I mean, that's only going to really be icing on the cake because they're center backs. You have Mings, who's really good, and then you have a couple other serviceable guys, Konsa and whatnot. But no, I think that, I like that because they really were looking good wide this game compared to Everton. Everton looked a little wide compared to normal.
The only real downside of this formation for them is sometimes they have to give up some of the possession.
Yeah, and just kind of go for it on the counter every once in a while. They're like, all right, well, this will be our one chance for now. And it doesn't always work. But because you have those two guys up front and then the extra center back. So the midfield's going to be a little on the weaker side. But, it does help having a guy like Douglas Luiz kind of sweeping up everything and getting in there. Yeah.
Big loss, though, for Aston Villa. John McGinn.
Off the corner.
Off injured.
Yeah.
Replaced by Marvelous Nakamba.
Yes.
Goes into halftime 0-0. Neither side able to score any goals.
Yeah, no, but second half a completely different story, especially early on.
Yeah.
Matty Cash with an absolute peach of a finish.
Yeah, just great run too.
Yeah. The game really turned on its head when Bailey came in. It just was a whole different aspect
Yeah.
to the game. And then right after that, I think like 2 or 3 minutes after, the Digne own goal. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's own goals that are obviously just like really poor. But I felt like a lot of this was just Villa putting pressure on.
Yeah, for sure. It was kind of like they just blitzed Everton, and Everton didn't know what hit them. I mean, all of a sudden, 3 minutes later, you're down 2-0.
Yeah.
After it's been kind of a back and forth game. And then not long after, I mean...
Great ball by Ings up to Bailey on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, Bailey adds the third. They could have scored even before that one. Ramsey had a nice curling effort.
Yep.
But they get the third. Great ball by Cash. Greatly taken chance. Nice finish. 3 goals in 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Villa gets it done.
And then Bailey subbed off injured.
He's like, I've done enough.
Yes, he's like, this should be enough for us.
My 20-minute cameo.
3-0 Villa. This was kind of a shocking result because of what we'd seen out of Everton so far.
Yeah.
Part of it does come down to this isn't Everton's number one lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe if they take one of their early chances, maybe it's a different game entirely. But mad props to Villa. They look good in the Chelsea game, and they're looking good this week. They're making me eat my words. I said they'd have a little drop-off in form. They're looking good.
Yeah, especially against Everton, who have been kind of more defensively focused, and they've been able to grind out results.
Mm-hmm.
To win as convincingly as you have against Everton, who have gotten some
Big
quality
results.
wins.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah, so that's a good one for Villa.
Absolutely. As far as Everton, just before we wrap up, anything to take from it or not really, just because it's not the number one team?
This might be confirmation bias or something or other, but it seems like every time Iwobi plays, it's just bad things happen. Like,
You can't talk bad about him. He got you 40 mil.
but
You got
he's
Arsenal
so
40 mil.
bad.
Yeah, we got
He's
you
so
40
bad.
mil. You can't trash talk him. All right. Moving on to the Sunday games. We got Brighton and Leicester.
Coming in with the lineups. 4-4-2 for Brighton. Bobby Sanchez in net. Cucurella. We love him already.
Yep.
1 game in. He's great. Lewis Dunk, Shane Duffy, Veltman. Midfield, you have Basuma, Lallana, Danny Welbeck, and Solly March. So a little bit different in there. And then forwards, you have Mopa and Trossard. So a little bit different look for Brighton.
Yeah, it's kind of, because we wrote it off as almost like a 4-4-2. It could have been like a 3 at the back situation with Dunk, Duffy, Veltman, and then Cucurella and kind of March as rotating back. But
they have the benefit of kind of these formations where they can just kind of
and then
free-flowing move them as they like, shift them.
and I say 3-4-3 because Welbeck could kind of be at the front 3, but also could drop back to midfield too.
Yeah.
A lot of different aspects to this formation with Mr. Potter.
Yep. From the Leicester perspective, Kasper Schmeichel in net, Soyuncu and Vestergaard, center back pairing, fullbacks Ryan Bertrand and Ricardo Pereira. Midfield, Tielemans and Didi and Soumare getting a start there. The newly purchased midfielder from Lille. Forward, you have Harvey Barnes, Jamie Vardy, and James Maddison.
I think one thing to note just about the lineups, if you had told me this early in the season, before the season, that this early in the season, they'd be relying this much on like Ryan Bertrand and stuff, I would have had a bad feeling about Leicester.
Yeah.
I don't mind him as a depth piece. I don't want you relying on him if you're making top 4 push.
I wonder what the
Not that he's been like awful, but still.
what's the injury status on Justin? Like, it's just like
He's gone forever.
disappeared
Luke Thomas,
into
he's
the
done.
void. I saw Luke Thomas on the bench, but starting off Brighton looking the better team in the first half hour of the match, controlling the ball.
Yeah, no, their possession was really good again this game. I know we've talked about them being more aggressive. It felt like they weren't super aggressive. They weren't just straight up chalk with the passing it back every single time. But, I did like the way they looked in this game. They didn't look like they were just kind of playing just bland possession. Mm-hmm. They were actually kind of going for it a little bit. But
yeah, Leicester, kind of the same story. They get a couple chances, in the first half or whatnot, but they don't necessarily control the game, and they don't really take advantage of the chances that they have. And then it ends up, they're going into the second half needing something.
Yeah, it feels like early in the first half, it's never at Vardy's feet.
Yeah.
I need to see them early on getting him shots and looks and stuff, because that's your best goal scorer. He's going to put you ahead. And, I mean, obviously you want to be ahead, not behind, ideally. So I think they just have to do a better job of working it to Vardy, but this midfield, in terms of doing that, and the wide play, just not as good as it used to be.
Mm-hmm. So
speaking of wide play, though.
Brighton, they were working very nicely down the left-hand side again through Kukurea. Just some wonderful skill on display, progressing the ball down that side.
Yeah, he won't be there very long.
Yeah, probably not. And then 33rd minute, penalty given, handball on Vestergaard, who was getting pulled down by Maupay.
It's kind of weird play. Even in when you first watch it, it's kind of like he's like flying through the air, like coming down.
It's like flailing.
Yeah, you're like, what am I looking at?
So is this the correct call for you?
Yeah, I would say so, but I don't feel great about it. I know that this one for you is going to be a no.
This is some classic Neil Maupay. Absolutely get away with everything for some reason. I mean, to me, it's a clear pull, and that's a foul. So
yeah,
I think that overrules the handball. I mean,
the exaggeration is what didn't get the call, and that's what led to the...
Yeah. I hate when guys do that. They go like, It's like, well, you're not guaranteed that they're going to give you a foul.
Yep. And if the ball hits your arm when you're flailing like that, then that's going to happen. But I get where you're coming from, too.
Yeah.
With that, I could see it either way. That's why you heard in my voice, I was not very decisive about it. It could go either way. So, but it doesn't. It's Neil Maupay.
Yeah, he converts the penalty. 1-0. Brighton going to halftime with the lead. Everything looking pretty good so far for them.
Oh, yeah.
The first half, I mean, Leicester, to me, James Maddison and Soumare, not good.
It's just bad. I don't know what's wrong with Maddison.
I don't know. He's got like no mojo.
Yeah. He doesn't have what he had going. And it wasn't just form 2 years ago, because he's shown it before. I don't know what it was. Maybe we did just misjudge him. He's not quite as good as he
Or perhaps it could have had to do with the transfers in the summer.
Mix of that. He's taken some injuries, so maybe it was he's just got to get back in form. But I don't know. Tactics? You think Raj got to use him in a different way?
At this point, I would say...
maybe off the bench?
Off the bench. Because he's really not providing that much.
They have to try anything right now.
Yeah, and so they do. They bring on Lookman at half.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after halftime...
off the free kick.
They get the second goal through Danny Welbeck.
This is what happens when you get aerial masters like Shane Duffy out here. Everyone's looking at them, and then that guy
pops.
Danny Welbeck.
Danny Welbeck, the man who falls over a lot. And then after that, it's kind of Leicester start to pull it back. They get a goal through Vardy. Just a nice team move.
Oh, that was a beautiful goal.
Ricardo, Lookman, Tielemans.
The Tielemans pass and Vardy with the run.
That is exactly what you expect out of Leicester.
And it just hasn't been there. Mm-hmm. And Honestly, it's been there, but it's either too little, too late, or I mean, the only game where it was really there enough was Wolves because they were able to hold on for the win, but it's not there enough for the game against West Ham. It's too little, too late. This game, it's there, but it's too little, too late.
Yeah. And, I got to say, I was doubting the Lookman signing. I didn't feel great about it, but he's come into the team and he's looked quite nice, honestly.
Yeah, I mean...
Kind of brings a different dynamic, a little more direct, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they need anything to go their way right now in terms of attack, so you might as well bring on Lookman. You might as well... We've been saying for Iheanacho forever, he must have done something to Brendan Rodgers that was irredeemable.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't finish the year in that form and then score in, like, the Community Shield, and then it's just like, oh, yeah, we don't actually use that guy.
Yeah.
I get you have to
Very
rotate your
strange.
squads and stuff, but you're using completely different tactics than what was getting you places last year. I don't understand.
So a big moment. Leicester equalized, but it's ruled offside
Get this man out of here.
due to Barnes obstructing the view of the keeper.
He's having a rough go. Not in this game, but in previous games. And they need to just bring him off the bench, too, with Madison.
These calls are always a tough one for me because it's like so subjective. It's like, were they really blocking the view or whatnot?
Yeah.
I mean, like technically, yes.
He's in the way.
But ultimately,
offside.
I don't think it really would have changed anything. So
Okay, I remember that. And you're also removed from the Bobby Sanchez fan club.
no.
Yep. No, 100%.
no,
You're
no,
out
no.
of here. You're out of here. I'm the one wearing the
I-
baseball
I-
hat
I'm
with the
just-
Amex shirt on.
I'm just saying, I see where Leicester could have felt hard done by in this match. Big moment. Dan Burn makes his season debut
Sam's
after
guy.
a long injury.
Absolute Sam.
Very happy to see him. Great guy. So Leicester still pushing for the equalizer, and they get it again. But again, the same thing. I've never
Harvey
seen it
Barnes.
twice in the same game where it's ruled offside because a guy obstructing the view.
Same guy, both
And definitely not have it be the same guy. At that point, he must feel awful.
Yeah.
Like-
It cost your team a win, not just a draw, but a win.
I think this one was even less so. Like, I felt like
Off
this
the
one
header?
shouldn't have been called.
Yeah.
But you call the first one, so the second one's going to get called too.
Yeah. Get out of the way.
And, Brighton get the win 2-1 despite the controversy of the offside calls.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good result for Brighton. And honestly, with their first half and early second half performance, you could make a case that it was well-deserved. And Leicester, you snooze, you lose. They got to get going early.
Yeah.
You can't leave this late.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take advantage early on, and they're not doing it.
To me, I think this one would have been fair as a draw, but
Yeah.
Brighton did put out a good performance in the first half, and ultimately,
It wasn't
Did
egregious
enough.
that they got all 3 points, but
yeah.
I would say, 2-2 draw would have felt right.
Yep. So great start for the season for Brighton, and
Fin-
rough start for
For
Leicester.
Leicester. Well, that's not how you start, it's how you finish, is what they always say. Now,
Yeah.
let me tell you about a strong finish in this next game. We got West Ham Man U.
This one.
This one.
This one. There's a moment in this one that just really it tore my soul out.
Yeah, dude. The vibes got ultimate betrayal.
Yeah.
Started off Fabianski, who has a fantastic game this game. So did De Gea.
Yes.
Cresswell, Zuma, and I love the pick that the Premier League uses for Kurt Zuma. He's like bent over, like double fist. He's like amped up.
It's one
Shoot.
of those like they do it on like the photo day when you sign, and they're
Yeah.
like, okay, give me a
Yeah, that's pretty much. That's perfect. Shufal, Okbana, Fornals, Vlasic, Sushek, Declan Rice, Bone, and Benrahma. Also in there as far as United go, De Gea, Maguire, Varane, Shaw, Bissaka, Pogba, Greenwood, Fred, Bruno Fernandes, McTominay back in.
good to see him
Big
back.
one. And CR7 up top.
So let's get into this one.
Yeah, early on, West Ham able to create some chances. I wouldn't say that they were like great chances. They were more like half chances, but
Yeah.
they were still able to kind of push Man U especially. It was like a lesser version of the start to the Wolves Man U game, I would say, where it's West Ham are pushing pretty fast. Didn't really result in a ton, but I mean, it's still something to build off of.
Yeah, and when you're playing a team like United, you want to get those early chances. And
Yep.
and you could tell they were missing Mikel Antonio in this one, not really having that centerpiece that you have in Antonio. I mean, you had, Bowen had some chances.
Antonio's so good because you can go through the middle to him, just straight up through him, no one else. But even if say that's kind of locked up, that's going to free it out wide for Bowen and even
Ben Rama.
Yeah, Ben Rama,
Yeah.
and then even more in the middle, guys like Fornals get a little more space. They can punish you. So it's just massive not having him out there. What did you think of Vlasic this game?
He didn't really do that much.
No, he had like one half chance that he put wide.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, he probably could have. I wouldn't say should have scored, but could have scored.
Yeah, I feel like he still
Second
needs some time, especially getting thrown in on this one against United. That's a tough one. And I think West Ham kind of have a very distinct style of play. You kind of got to get used to how they want to play with various players and whatnot. So he looked a little out of place in this one, but I'm not, judging him too hard on that.
Yes.
But United eventually kind of started controlling the possession more and more.
And turning it into something.
Yeah, and they were working it well. Big chance. Bruno hit off the post, but it's a great save by Fabianski to tip it onto the post.
He had a great game in this game. I can't get over how well he played. Him and De Gea both.
Absolutely.
With all the chances are great. I think both teams had at least 8 shots on target or somewhere about there. So we'll get to the goal. 1-0. Ben Rama, a little fortunate on the deflection there, but
A little. That's being quite generous.
the curler was going to be on net, probably going to be saved by De Gea.
Just to
Who
the
knows,
complete
but
opposite side.
Yeah, went complete opposite side netting as it hit off the defender. It was great build-up play and some link play between, it was Bowen and Soufal, I want to say. Bowen with the eventual assist to Ben Rama on the shot, but it's just what West Ham do when they get you in that final third. They just know where each other are at. They're very quick in tight spaces, and they're able to work it, and especially laterally too, to get good shots.
Right, yeah. And I think a guy like Jared Bowen, he's a lot better off where he's more of in the link-up play than the guy who's finishing the chances.
Yep.
Because he had some chances and didn't take
He's
them
never
very well.
really been a strong finisher, unless it's like counter and it's just going to be him, or he's with one guy and it's like one or two defenders. Then, he might have to shoot, but...
Yep. United get the equalizer
Who
through
else?
the man, the myth, the legend, CR7 off his own rebound.
It was a great ball.
Great ball from Bruno. They're having a nice connection there, finding each other.
Super deep when he puts that ball in there.
Yeah.
And just a perfect loft on it for Ronaldo. The breakthrough up on Ogbonna and Zuma, get in behind, place it in net.
Yeah, so it ends up 1-1 at the half. Kind of an even side, even first half, you would say.
I would say, yeah, it was split.
You could tell that it was more trending towards United, I would say. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
having more of the possession,
towards the end of the half,
getting
for
more chances. And then coming out right away after halftime, bad giveaway from Fornals. Huge save from Fabianski on Ronaldo.
Yes.
Absolutely massive.
Yeah, what can you say?
And then after that, we have this weird series of penalty shouts that aren't given. So starting off 68th minute, penalty shout. Wan-Bissaka tackles Soucek, but it's given as a foul on Soucek. What are your thoughts on that one?
It's a pen for me.
It's a pen for me.
It's Soucek's on my fantasy team. It's a pen for me.
I thought it was
say,
a pen.
Yeah, I would say it was, but I'm just giving my bias take on why it was. No, I thought it was. I thought it was a little reckless.
Yeah.
He went in there, thinking the ball.
I mean, there was definite contact from Bissaka. I think ultimately it was that kind of Soucek was more coming towards Wan-Bissaka,
Yeah.
and they kind of thought that maybe he was
They never
creating it.
They never give it to the big guy. They always anticipate that the big guy's the one that can be dealt more damage or is dealing the damage to the little guy.
Yeah, and then shortly after 75th minute, down at the other end, Soufal blocks off Ronaldo, and he goes down.
Not a pen.
Also not given as a pen.
Not a pen.
And that one's not a pen
Soufal's
for you?
also on my fantasy. We can't have these things to go against our guys.
I
could see
who
this
the
one was
culprit of this.
This one was more 50-50, and I could genuinely see either way. I would say no pen, but like I said, I could see either way on this one.
I say pen.
Fair enough.
So we have 2 pens not given in the span of 8 minutes.
Yes.
But then, J-Ling subbed on. Just a beautiful individual effort.
Not to
running
mention
through
the Zuma
box.
one, too. The Zuma.
Did I miss one?
Yeah, there's that third one, wasn't there?
That was after the goal.
Oh, you're talking about after the goal.
Yes.
Okay.
So J-Ling's beautiful curler against his former team. You
That
hate
was
to
so
see it as a
dirty.
West Ham fan, but
That's so dirty. What a shot. What a perfect shot.
that was a pure vibe shot.
What was that?
And he didn't want to celebrate, but
No.
then he's like, okay, I kind of got to celebrate.
Come on, United.
So then, as you were saying, another penalty shout. Zuma takes out Ronaldo. Not given again.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I thought that was before the goal. I don't know why.
Maybe
No, I think you're right. It was after, but
yeah. So, also not given.
But then we get one that is given.
Yes. We get one given in the 92nd minute of the game. West Ham get the penalty. Luke Shaw, clear as day handball. There's no arguing this one. That is a handball.
This was so rough because Mark Noble's such a Premier League legend. And
Mark
just
Noble.
West Ham legend in general.
Subbed on
This might
specifically.
be one of Sam's top 5 favorite players.
Specifically to take on the pen. The
The
man.
pinch hitter.
Yes. You absolutely love him because he comes on. He scores his pens. West Ham legend. He comes on. Absolutely no prior touches in the game. Just to take this pen. Steps up. Saved by De Gea. It was a decent taken pen, but ultimately a better save.
Yeah. De Gea is just...
And at that moment, I was just like, oh my God, my soul hurts watching this. And you can just see it happening. Like, oh, you sub on this guy who hasn't had a kick of the ball.
Yeah.
It brought me back to the England match where you're bringing on Rashford and Sancho,
Yeah.
and they barely have an impact,
And
and
they're
then they're
taking the
taking
penalties.
pens, and it's like, wow, this is triggering some deeper things for me, and I don't like how I feel.
Well,
And United get the win,
2-1
2-1.
United. United just... This is why they're title contender, big time title contenders for me. I don't know if they could have won, or not necessarily could have, should have won the Wolves game. They do. You don't know if they should have won this West Ham game. They do. They're just able to get these results.
Yeah. Big results.
Yeah, not just small ones. The away fixtures against these mid-table sides that are giving them a fight.
Yeah.
And they're able to go in and win.
Yeah. So on to the marquee matchup of the week.
Was it?
Well, on paper, you would say. Ultimately, it turned out not to be really that crazy of a match.
It was a stinker of a game.
We're talking about Tottenham Hotspur versus Chelsea at the new White Hart Lane,
The new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
whatever you want to call it.
We call it the sadness, the dungeon of sadness is what we'll call it for Tottenham. Lloris, Reguilon, Romero getting in there. How about that?
Yeah, finally.
Your boy Emerson Royale still in there. Eric Dyer back after the knock. Højbjerg, Lo Celso, Ali, and Ndombele. Kane and Son up front. As far as Chelsea, Kepa in there. You love to see him, don't you? You love to see
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, the manlet, the myth, the legend. Rudiger, Christensen, Silva, Alonso, Jorginho, Kovacic, Dave, Lukaku, Mount, Havertz.
Tottenham actually started off this one actually looking pretty decent, not going to lie. Like, they had some good possession. They were pressing well out of possession.
It looked a little bit like how they played during the City match.
Yeah.
And it looked like they were actually going to have something going here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then they just rug pull you because they're Tottenham. They're just like, you thought we thought wrong. You absolutely thought wrong.
Yeah, they looked better. I mean, they had Son and Kane in there to link up. When they've looked bad, it's been because they've been missing one or the other. But
yeah, now to have them back in there. I just thought coming into this game that they would probably be overmatched in the midfield. And honestly, it didn't really look like it early on.
Mm-hmm.
But as the game went on, and especially once Conte came in, Conte was
Yeah.
fantastic this game.
Yeah, I thought
Chelsea.
the Chelsea defense did well, though, in that first kind of 20, 25
Silva,
minutes.
you could say that Silva was potentially the best player of the week in
Yeah,
the Premier League.
I mean, that's how Chelsea are going to play. At times, it's not going to be working, fully going forward. So they're going to have to defend well, and they have some quality defenders. And
their system they have in place is so good, and the quality they have back there with Rudiger and Silva is just...
It kind of allows them that time to work it out going forward, and then they get a better hold of the game kind of in the second half of the first half.
Yep.
And they're possessing the ball more, pushing it forward. You can already see there's a lot of space, pretty easy for Chelsea. It's like, you get past the midfield like that, and then it's 3-on-2.
Yep. Yeah, no, the layers to Tottenham's formation in this one, there's so much space in behind each, and it was weird because they early on in the season, well, I guess we're still technically early on when you think about it, but they were definitely sitting more back and then able to push together as a unit. This game, it kind of felt like they weren't as cohesive, and Chelsea was really able to break the lines very, very easily.
Yeah, like you say, yeah. We've seen them earlier in the season. They looked a lot better doing that organization, tougher to break down. But yeah, it goes into halftime 0-0. And Chelsea, you would say, looking more likely to score.
Yeah, and, it as it'll go on, we'll get to the set piece stuff, but just in the first half, I don't know. I thought Chelsea were so effective in possession, even though they didn't score. They just looked really good when they had the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But going in the second half, Silva off the corner heads in home to take the lead. There was just some dominance on corners in this game that Chelsea were really able to exploit, and we haven't really seen that be the weakness from Tottenham, which is the strange thing. But yeah, no, and then as it goes on, Conte's long range kind of rip, that kind of came out of nothing. I mean, Chelsea win the ball back.
Yeah.
And then Conte just has to going far side, hits defender, other side, very much like the Benrahma goal.
It's the week of deflected goals.
Yes. But, what are you going to do when you're Tottenham? Is there just anything that caught your eye about Tottenham at this point? Did you have any hope of them coming back? Because they had nothing going forward after like the 30th, 40th minute.
Yeah,
and then the second half, absolutely nothing.
They looked just like deflated. Like lacking energy going forward, and it's after the first goal, it's like I don't think they're coming back, and then Chelsea gets a second.
Which is weird
For
because
sure
they have the quality to, but this is what I was talking about before the year with them. I feel comfortable knowing what Tottenham kind of are, in the sense that if this was Tottenham Mourinho, I could see them losing 5-0. I could see them somehow storming back and beating Chelsea. I wouldn't rule that out.
Mm-hmm.
With Nuno, there's some sense of predictability. You can see how the game's going to play out.
Yeah.
Eventually, whether it's Tottenham winning or losing, you can kind of just see the flow to it, and you're like, oh, this is what's going to happen. That's just how I felt. There was no way Tottenham was ever going to come back in this game.
Yeah, that's fair. Another convincing performance from Chelsea, who
The Rudiger third capping it off.
they've only given up 1 goal so far this season, and it was the penalty for Salah.
Yeah.
Like you say, yeah, Rudiger capped it off with the third.
It was a very strange goal. I think it's always strange to see a center back score with his feet.
Yeah, that's
It's always
true.
just like, you're not supposed to do that. But going forward, does this tell you more about Chelsea or Tottenham?
I would say Tottenham. Kind of, if you go down, then
See, this didn't tell me anything about Tottenham. Last week, the Palace one
Yeah.
really told me about Tottenham.
Okay.
This one, I was like, as far as Chelsea goes, 3-0. I just didn't learn a lot from this game.
no, I think that's what I would expect of Chelsea, to have that quality.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more, to me, more disappointing.
Maybe it is. Maybe you did learn a little about Tottenham. Maybe, if it was 1-0 Chelsea or something like that, you would say,
Yeah.
oh, well, I didn't learn much from this.
I
But
mean-
3-0.
After the start that they had, it was just very disappointing the way it went down from there.
Completely agree.
So, let's get in
Match day
to
6.
some predictions. Match day 6.
Oh, my team of the week. We almost
Team of the
forgot.
week. I think you didn't do it last week.
No, I did.
Did you?
I did have one. In net, David De Gea. Second place was Mr. Darlow. I wanted to give it to him for
What
Newcastle.
about Fabianski?
He was tied for second with Darlow in second.
Okay.
Alonso, Silva, Van Dijk. I went Milner over Matty Cash, but really could have been a toss-up with that one.
I'd say Matty Cash personally.
Trossard, Douglas Luiz, and then for the last spot, Odegaard. Sar, Tony, ASM.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Moving on to predictions. Match week 6, match day 6, whatever you want to call it. First game is a doozy. Chelsea versus Manchester City.
At the Bridge, I think what I'm mainly going to be looking for is City sharpness level. If maybe they get a win against Southampton last week, they come out pretty flat against Chelsea this week instead. But since they came out so flat last week,
Yeah.
you best believe that they better be playing top notch. Otherwise, Pep
Yeah,
going to rain holy hell on that team.
that's true.
As far as what I'm looking for in the match, maybe Chelsea's attack versus City's defense. I kind of want to see how that lines up, see what can overcome, what's stronger.
Yeah, I think with Ake in the back, I think
It's
there's
not quite-
weakness.
Yeah, it's not quite as strong as you would think, but Ruben Dias against Lukaku, you'd think if it's man-to-man, that's going to be a good one to watch. But
Mm-hmm.
Any prediction on this one?
I'm going to go with 1-1. What are you thinking?
I'm going 1-0 Chelsea.
Okay. Second game of the week, Man U versus Aston Villa. This should be a good one.
Yeah, at Old Trafford. United looking pretty well so far. What are you looking for out of United versus Villa? What are you going to keep your eyes on?
I would say United should probably have most of the possession.
But can they break down that back five?
Can they break down the back five? Villa should be able to defend well and possibly hit on the counter.
Which Man U was a little susceptible to against Wolves, but
Yeah.
the thing is that they didn't have McTominay. It was Fred.
Right.
If McTominay is
Yeah.
playing, you feel a little better that space is not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a 1-0 to United.
okay, I'm thinking 2-0 for United. So Everton, Norwich at Goodison. Can Everton bounce back? Will Norwich get their first win? What are we thinking here? What are you looking at as far as matchups?
I think Norwich, I think they'll struggle with the defense of Everton. Everton's pretty solid so far, minus this previous game. But I don't think Norwich has the same kind of quality that Aston Villa does. So I think Everton should be able to win this one fairly easily, maybe like a 2-0, maybe a 2-1.
So
Maybe
yeah,
they
I was
get a lucky
thinking
goal.
I was thinking a 2-1, but it's way closer than you'd think. 2-1
Okay.
Everton, but
Yeah.
I think Norwich gives them a run for their money. Leeds, West Ham.
Should be a good one.
Yeah. And this one, I want to see... What do I want to see in this one? Antonio should be back.
Yep.
So it should be more open. I want to see West Ham just run rampant on Leeds' defense.
Yeah, I think they should be able to.
Cooper, last game against St. Maximin, was just getting blown past every time.
Yeah, Cooper has been looking pretty awful this season so far.
Yeah. So we'll see what they can do. I'm going to go at Elland Road 3-1 West Ham.
I like 3-1 as well.
Oh, boy. We should keep track, but only of the ones where we pick the same and see what the 1% on that is.
Yeah.
Leicester, Burnley. This one in Leicester. I want to see Leicester have to break down a team. I want to see that. They're going to be in Burnley's half.
Yeah.
I want to see you work the ball to get a goal.
Mm-hmm. They should have more of the ball for sure in this one. On the other side, Burnley potentially able to exploit the defensive weaknesses of Leicester.
Shaky.
Yeah.
Shaky. Wood, not really a super pacey guy, but you could blow past Vestergaard.
Yeah.
So, man, is this where Burnley get their first win somehow?
Ooh.
I don't think I can do that. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm too nervous, so I got to go with the conservative draw. I could genuinely see Burnley winning this for just out of nowhere.
I was going to say 1-1 as well.
All right. We'll go 1-1. Watford Newcastle, another potential 6-pointer right here.
Yep. This one could say a lot about Watford if they're able to win this one. Unfortunately, I don't think they will be.
I don't know if it would teach me a lot about Watford. I'm still just going to be nervous about Watford. And I know that deep down, it just depends on who they play. If it's a team that can be exposed out wide, or if their center backs are just not very quick in space, they can beat them.
To me, Watford is like very close to the bottom. So like any signs of positivity,
Fair
it shows me something.
Fair enough. I want to watch the midfield battle in this one, because who could potentially win the midfield? Because both of these teams' strong points are not the midfield.
Yeah, no
Especially
midfield at all.
With Watford, you'd rank attack, defense, then midfield. Newcastle, you might put their midfield over their defense, but I'd probably, put their defense. No, their defense stinks.
Yeah, it does.
We'll put their midfield. But I still don't really care much for Newcastle's midfield, other than their wide players in Richie and Murphy. So it'll be interesting to see where the battle's won there. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw again.
2-1 Newcastle.
Oh, boy. Brentford Liverpool. This is not lining up well for Brentford.
No.
Or so you would think. But then Brentford, they always respond a way you might not imagine if you're anyone other than us.
Yeah, I mean, we saw last week Crystal Palace were able to have some possession of the ball. Perhaps Brentford is able to get some control in the midfield. Maybe their center backs can frustrate the Liverpool attackers. Potentially, maybe get a point.
I'm thinking 2-1 Liverpool.
I'm thinking 1-0 Liverpool.
Okay. Southampton Wolves at St. Mary's. We now know that St. Mary's is just the place to be for Southampton. They play too well there.
Yes.
What are we thinking on this one?
I'm thinking
For what to watch?
That I want to see Wolves bounce back from their last performance and maybe get back to more of kind of pushing the attack and
Getting clear-cut chances.
really getting some clear-cut chances.
But Southampton's defense been pretty solid lately. It'll be interesting to see how much they can impede that.
Yeah. I think this one will be kind of a stalemate.
0-0?
0-0, yeah.
Okay.
Southampton's going to be the 0-0 team this year.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Could ask for
Unless
nothing.
Borja.
Borja.
Or Broja.
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 He comes on and
He just lights it up.
lights it up.
a Livramento de Broja goal, it'd be like the Carl Weathers, Arnold Schwarzenegger epic handshake
Yes.
meme. Arsenal, Tottenham. How are you feeling coming into this one? My prediction: Southampton, Wolves. I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw.
All right. So moving on to the North London derby, like you were saying, I feel better than I did a couple weeks ago. I'll say that. Tottenham was at the top, Arsenal was at the bottom, but things have changed.
Yep.
Tottenham have been trending downwards. Arsenal have been slowly trending upwards.
Yep.
To me, this one seems like a 1-1 draw written all over it, and it's not going to be pretty. That's all I'll say.
I feel like one team's getting a win here, and I don't know which one. I really don't. I'm going to say Arsenal keep the win streak going, and it's going to be 2-1 Arsenal.
That would be amazing.
Well,
From a non-biased perspective.
Yeah, from your perspective.
Yes.
Well, that wraps it up other than Sam's.
Whoa.
There's a
Palace
Monday.
versus Brighton.
There's a Monday game.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
This should be a fun one. Palace versus Brighton.
I like that.
I hope that Palace can keep playing kind of that good possession that they had. They might struggle against Brighton because Brighton have been possessing the ball pretty well.
Yeah, maybe Palace. This is the game for Palace to kind of, explore their counterattack abilities.
Yeah.
There's just games where Wilf can explode on the counterattack. Wonder maybe they start Edouard rather than Benteke. Don't really know what Benteke does unless you want to think, well, Edouard, if you get possession, is just going to get bullied by Duffy, so we need a big guy like Benteke to go against them or even hold up play.
I think Benteke also adds like a defensive presence on the set pieces.
True.
So that could be
he
important.
can clear. Absolutely. What are we thinking here at Selhurst?
I'm thinking 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. It's the week of 1-1 draws out of me.
Okay.
A lot of even matchups.
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction before we go?
My prediction for this one is that let's see, looking down the list, I gotta remember what I predicted.
The drum roll just for nothing.
I think Doucouré will score a goal.
Doucouré?
Yes.
For Everton?
Yes.
That's a strange
You've
prediction.
heard it here first.
That is a... That's
Until
one we
next
will
week.
immediately forget. Until next week, goodbye.
Farewell.
Adios. Sayonara.
Auf Wiedersehen.